Hello, my name is Brandon Niebuhr, and before we get started today, I just want to do a brief activity with the audience. I want all of you to close your eyes and think about prison. Think about what it looks like, who's in there, and what are they doing. Alright, now open your eyes. What did you see? Probably a cold, dark place, guys in orange jumpsuits, eating bad food, maybe cleaning toilets, all that kind of stuff. That's a preconceived notion that society makes for us of what prison is like, and it's there because so we follow rules and the laws. You know, prison is supposed to be a place where we are feared. But how bad is prison actually? According to WTVM in Georgia, in 2012 there was a homeless man that threw a brick through a window of a United States Post Office building, which is a felony, obviously, and he got 10 years in prison. And the intentions behind this was so he had a place to sleep where it's warm, place for food, to shower, bathe, because it was better than being homeless. And this is a common trend that's actually happening around the United States. Prison's supposed to be a place for rehabilitation and to integrate people back into society after the crimes that they did. And this just isn't happening. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is reform of the penitentiary system. And that's going to base around three ideas, which is going to be costs, recidivism rates, and the overall structure of it. So let's start with cost. According to American Corrections by Todd Clear, it costs $38,000 per year for just one person to stay in jail. That's a crazy number because most Americans don't even make that much in a single year. And with over 2 million people incarcerated in the United States, the total cost is around $76 billion per year. $76 billion. The numbers speak for themselves. Recidivism rates is what we're going to talk about next, and recidivism is a statistic that shows people getting reincarcerated after they get released out of prison. And according to the National Institute of Justice, within 5 years of being released from prison, 76.6% of people get reincarcerated by committing a similar crime or just any sort of crime. That shows a huge lag in the system. They're not getting rehabilitated if more than 3/4 of people are coming out and coming right back in. It's an endless cycle that, again, with the high cost, is just costing more money. So next we're going to talk about the structure of it all. So right now the structure is violent criminals, so murderers, rapists, and people that have done like armed robbery are in the same place as nonviolent offenders, you know, drug possession, maybe DUIs, that kind of stuff. So you have two ends of the spectrum all into one. That's a really dangerous thing because the nonviolent offenders leave the way that they were living and come into a place where they assimilate with the criminal culture. They get labeled as a criminal and they start acting like that. Kind of like how if you move to Germany, you don't keep your United States culture necessarily. It's going to be really hard. You're going to assimilate to their culture. You're going to eat German food. You're going to live the German way of life. You know, speak their language. You're going to leave your normal customs back in the United States. Same thing happens with the nonviolent criminals when they go to prison. So what can we do to fix this? First things first, we can make prison a place of work and discipline, making inmates who are physically capable go out under the supervision of, you know, different sheriffs and deputies and parole officers and make them work in trades, make them do road work during the day and then come back into jail to eat and sleep. This can be a really effective way because, you know, they're not just going to be living for free. They're going to actually have to do things, you know, probably things that they're not going to want to do, and they're not going to get paid for it. And it's going to give them skills so that when they get out into society, they're going to be able to work and live. Another thing we can do is send nonviolent criminals to places of rehabilitation centers. You know, prison is no place for a nonviolent offender. Rehab centers allows them to become educated, receive treatment and interventions that they need, and be advocated for. This is going to cost, you know, this is still going to cost money, but not as much as $38,000 a year. So in turn, we're going to be saving money. So in conclusion, we need reform because mass incarceration is just as unnecessary as the cost of it. Prison's supposed to be a place where they're rehabilitated and get integrated back into society. With recidivism through the roof, in part to the lack of rehabilitation and nonviolent criminals assimilated into culture, you know, prison's just not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And criminals need to work hard in prison, be disciplined, and there needs to be systems in place for nonviolent offenders to receive tailored rehabilitation to them, where they get educated, receive treatment, all that kind of things. So again, reform is something that we need, and it's really in the hands of the people. So what are you going to do?